Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. And we are working with some very powerful energies. It's eclipse season. So let's back it up. Welcome, Heather. Welcome, Alicia. On August 8th, we had what's known as the Lion's Gate. And this is involving Sirius, the planet Sirius, Earth, the Sun. That day became an 8. So it was a 888, which is the energy of Master Jesus. And then early this morning, we had a very rare 6-planet lineup in the early morning horizon, where Mercury, Jupiter, Mars, Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune were all lined up. So this very rare astrological alignment. In just a couple hours, we will have the Leo new moon, followed by a total solar eclipse in Leo. This is the sign, Leo is the sign where the South Node, as you remember, the South Node and the North Node have just changed signs. So the South Node, what we are shedding, releasing, has just moved into Leo. North Node is in Aquarius. Leo represents, of course, the sun, our life force. And it's also, of course, about ego. And so how are we showing up in the world? And you're going to see in today's show, there are 3 different instances where we're being shown the opposites of something. The unseen is highlighting the opposites of something. And so with this South Node in Leo, new moon, total solar eclipse, these energies arc out for a good 3 to 6 months. And so watch to see how the culmination of all of these is going to play out. Leo, the lion, the life force, the ego, and when we're in alignment with the North Node, because the South Node is about what we're releasing, so the arrogance, the entitlement, the hubris, the false identities and egos and all of this stuff is being shedded, removed, released. However that comes about, we're either willing or we're not. Because the North Node is Aquarian, it's in Aquarius. And so it's that we the people, this higher octave of humanity, of opportunity, of growth. And with that, of course, is authenticity and humility and grace and goodness. So we can see the opposites. Well, let's begin. I want to begin, it's John 14:23. Jesus replied, "All who love me will do what I say. My Father will love them, and we will come and make our home with each of them. We will come and make our home with each of them. This eclipse, this moment, all of this massive astrological energy and occurrences that have been taking place in the last 16, 18 months, these major shifts that we've been covering and talking about, it speaks to a time, and again, there's obviously 2,000 years of biblical referencing to this. There's also the fact that this can simply, simply, it's major. It can be this shift in energy, in octave, in the permeating of a higher octave of energy, the presence of the divine being awakened within us, truly awakened, and thereby we will come and make our home with each of them. So keep this in mind as we move into the full show. And then there's two quotes I want to start with. This is the first one. Both of these are by Richard Rudd, the Gene Keys. This is from Dare to be Divine. This planet holds many memories. We have forgotten what we really are, where we came from. In our descent into matter, we have forgotten that we are gods. So we will have to remember. There's a whole aspect here, this North Node in Aquarius, this Aquarian age, we the people, unity, oneness, our divinity, our divine nature and light. And so we will have to remember. We're in this stage, in this process of remembering, of remembering, coming together, joining within ourselves and with the divine, the above, the unseen. The other is from Richard Rudd from The Sage. When the call to service comes, always answer. For the divine loves more than anything to use the blessings of goodness to beget more goodness. The previous show was all about the calling. I see, I hear, I speak. And this aspect of what we've truly come to do, what our soul has come to do. It's no longer about the I. It's as if our lives are not our own anymore. They never were. We've always been the custodians of our life force, of our soul, and of our human experience, the custodian of it. However, in a patriarchal Piscean ego, I, era, that disconnect, that got diminished, suppressed, forgotten. And so we're in this, so we're going to have to remember, we're in this place of remembering that we are the custodians of our soul, of our human experience. We aren't the experience. And thereby, these, the Lion's Gate, the Leo new moon, the total solar eclipse, the South Node in Leo, this rare 6-planet lineup, all of these, all the major planets changing signs, all of this is that mandrake, we're being uprooted, we're being shaken to our core, to our very roots, to awaken, to make a choice, to move forward, because it's number 2 from the unseen. They're guiding me. If they said goodwill beckons, calls you forward, integrating the whole. So let me just jump to integrating the whole. So goodwill beckons. It calls you forward. It's integrating the whole. Integrating the whole means combining separate parts, ideas, or details so they form one complete, unified, and understandable whole. We've talked about Ahura Mazda, the Mazda rotary engine, how the heart, the mind, the ego, the soul become unified as one, this uniting of parts. It connects individual pieces into a single, larger picture rather than leaving them isolated. Integrating the whole is the spiritual practice of uniting all parts of yourself, your mind, your emotions, your body, your soul, into one complete harmonious state. It means turning high spiritual ideas into normal daily actions. That's walking the walk. Healing inner splits caused by stress or pain and realizing you are complete right now. Whole and complete right now. It's a perception, it's a choice, it's active alignment, choosing to walk the walk. And so we have this goodwill beckons, calls you forward, integrating the whole. We're coming into this united oneness, and we have to do the work. We do or don't. We don't have to do anything. But the goodwill is beckoning us forward. And the era of the Aquarian age is we. What we do with one another, for one another. And by doing it from a place of goodness, we receive it back. Because again, we're the custodians of this. We're the custodians of the earth. We're the custodians of the soul. We're the custodians of our life experience. These are not things that we own or belong to us. They, in essence, are on loan to us. There's a difference. And how do we take care of them? When we are lent something by another, more often than not, we take care of it with a higher degree of care. We ensure that it's cared for, that we protect it, that we do right by it. That's what we're talking about here. So let's look at the astrological chart. Oh, and by the way, the numbers today. So important to note, which we will come to, it's number 5 from the unseen, is the 1221. And so because we have 8, 12, 1, that becomes a 21, which becomes a 3, but it's the 1221 that we're working with. And then here's the astrological chart for the Leo new moon, the solar eclipse. This is the solar eclipse chart. And again, astrologically, you can see all the beautiful blue lines, all these harmonious blue lines. Those are all, positive aspects in astrology between the planets and so forth. The red lines are the oppositions and the squares, which denote the friction, the pent-up energy that must be released. And so you can see that we're on the left, we got Pluto retrograde is opposing Jupiter and Mercury. You have Neptune retrograde opposing Venus. You have Venus squaring Mars. You have Neptune retrograde squaring Mars. So we have all of this energy that needs to be dealt with. Well, again, intuitively looking at this, what the unseen said was web of lies, Charlotte's web. So this is one of the first pairs of opposites that we're dealing with. And so this web of lies and Charlotte's web. And I'm looking for it, and for some odd reason, I don't have it up here. So let me just pull it up while bear with me. We've had internet issues and all kinds of fun. Here we are. So, web of lies. And web of lies is an idiom describing a complex connected network of false statements, secrets, and deceit. Like a spider's web, the falsehoods trap the person who created them, making the truth difficult to untangle or escape. So South Node in Leo. All of the false ego, all of the lies, the deceit, the hubris, the arrogance, and these webs that are created, because it's an idiom describing a complex connected network of false statements, secrets, and deceit. Like a spider's web, the falsehood trapped the person who created them, making the truth difficult to untangle or escape from. One lie requires another lie to cover it up, linking them together like strands of silk. The liar becomes trapped by their own fabricated stories because keeping track of them gets harder over time. The phrase often implies that the structure will eventually collapse or unravel, exposing the truth. In the next 3 to 6 months and so forth, even arcing out longer into 2027, 2028, these web of lies, all of this deceit, the arrogance, these webs of deceit collapse. It's the South Node in Leo. The act of, and spinning the web is the act of creating or fabricating the deceit. The tangled web, it's popularized by Sir Walter Scott's famous quote, "Oh, what a tangled web we weave, when first we practice to deceive." And then caught in the web, the moment when the lies fail and the consequences catch up to the person. So we have this aspect of the web of lies with being shown in the astrological chart for the total solar eclipse. It's the total solar eclipse chart. The new moon, the Leo new moon is minutes, if you will, prior to the eclipse. And then we have Charlotte's Web. And Charlotte's Web, bear with me here we go. And Charlotte's Web, of course, is by E.B. White, and it's rich with spiritual and philosophical meaning, exploring themes of selfless love, the sacred cycle of life and death, and the deep interconnectedness of all living things. Charlotte's choice to exhaust her life force to save Wilbur mirrors archetypes of ultimate Christ-like or Bodhisattva-like sacrifice, putting another's existence above her own. It's the physical web representing the profound spiritual act and the ripples that move back through the whole. It's about grace and humility. And it's also about cyclical existence. And the story actually embodies, because she sacrifices herself for Wilbur, for her friend. And it's also about legacy and resurrection. And so, in this aspect, web of lies, Charlotte's Web, one is filled with deceit, with lies. The other is Charlotte's Web is filled with sacrifice, selfless love, the web of life, grace, humility, the cyclical existence of life, and the legacy. The legacy is our key word. But before we get to it, I'm going to go over to, first off, Chani Nicholas. This is her, the weekly. So we have these opposites, web of lies, Charlotte's Web. You can see how the web of lies is the South Node in Leo, what we're releasing. The story of Charlotte's Web, her personal sacrifice, her selfless sacrifice to ensure the goodness, a ripple that continues. Her sacrifice, the goodness of her sacrifice carries on. It goes into her offspring and so forth. Wilbur's life and what happens. And so North Node in Aquarius, we're being shown and given the examples of the choices and the choice that's before us. Goodness or deceit, shadow, light, dark. Chani Nicholas, the weekly. Live like no one's watching. This is an excerpt. This week brings a spectacular setup. Not only do we have the first eclipse in Leo near the South Node in decades, but it's a show-stopping total solar eclipse on the same day as the Perseids meteor shower. The skies, I forgot about that too, the Perseids meteor shower are coming this evening. There's a ton of stuff happening just today, astrologically. The skies are signaling that the drama here on Earth will be popcorn worthy and will commence in 3, 2, 1. Expect a few pedestals to wobble and high-profile figures to crash out. Also expect your own timeline to jump. Eclipses speed things up, act as portals of massive change, and signal times when significant losses and gains are dealt, and I would say also felt. So it's significant losses and gains are dealt, but they're also felt, they're realized. Because this eclipse occurs in Leo, the sign of bold leaders and wannabe kings, it will test everyone's ability to sit in the throne of their own power. And remember, eclipses are all about shadows and light, so be prepared for a full spectrum emotional extravaganza, both personally and collectively. And then she offered a further update, Channing Nicholas, and she said, this is a time to skip the drama and break up with egocentric beliefs, behaviors, and people. Prepare to see power-hungry egomaniacs knocked off their pedestals too. This is the first in a series of Leo eclipses nearing the shutting south node, and it's coming in hot. So this is going to be a time of shedding, of release. Are we doing that willingly? Are we in alignment with letting go of the false egos, identities, the masks, the labels, the identities, the scripts, the stories, the truths? We've talked a lot about this on the Weekly Wisdom and Insights journey, that it's what's required to come into a more balanced oneness, whole. This goodwill beckons, it's calling you forward. It's integrating the whole. And this first example of web of lies, are you in a life in this web of lies? What happens? You get ensnared in the spider's web. You're toast. You're a meal. As opposed to walking freely, unencumbered, light, pure. Because there's a beautiful, but it's a quote that, a lie becomes a part of your future. The truth, your past. The truth speaks for itself. But the lie you have to keep remembering. You have to keep telling. Then you're telling another lie and another lie and another lie. This creates the web. And this moment with this Leo new moon, total solar eclipse, at a culmination point really of all that's come before it in the last 16 months, is this final, well, it's this final wake-up call. Let's go to what our main theme is, because the main theme is the final revelation. It's all coming back to me now. And a revelation is an act of revealing or communicating divine truth, the act of making something known that was secret, or a fact that is made known, the act of revealing or disclosing, disclosure. So we have the final revelation. It's all coming back to me now. The spiritual meaning of the final revelation is the ultimate unveiling of divine truth, making the completion of a spiritual cycle, the triumph of light over illusion, and the absolute restoration of harmony between humanity and the divine. From a Christian perspective, it represents the final and complete disclosure of God's, the divine's redemptive plan through Master Jesus, and the closure of the scriptural canon, pointing toward ultimate cosmic justice, the defeat of darkness, and the renewal of heaven and earth. From a mystical and Gnostic view, it is interpreted as an inner awakening rather than an external event. This, we will come and dwell with you. This awakening, it's when something permeates. It just is. It's true right this second. It's just been so veiled that the connection to it has been diminished, minimized. Color versus technicolor. Technicolor, it comes to life. It's enhanced. It's shimmering. Color, it's present, but it's almost one directional, if you will. Yes, it has depth, but it's a different octave of existence, of being, of energy. And so from the mystical and Gnostic, it is interpreted as an inner awakening rather than an external event. The ego completely dissolving so that divine consciousness can be reborn within the soul. This is, again, we don't kill the ego. We don't eradicate the ego. We don't harm the ego. We do purify the ego. We do allow the ego to come into alignment, into service to, with, and for the divine, the soul. And while traditional groups view Master Jesus Christ as the absolute final word, other traditions and independent believers feel continuous personal revelation remains active through the Holy Spirit. So there are, and core spiritual themes, transformation over destruction. We're witnessing the destruction of the way we were, the institutions, the governments. What it appears to be is this reversing back almost to the 1900s or pre-1900s, very draconian. But that's the destruction. It's not the reoccurrence or the reemergence of that time. Its web of lies, its deceit, the weight of its hubris, its arrogance is what ensnares it. It becomes its own undoing because it's demonstrating that in such a magnitude that it's waking people up to say, I don't want that. I don't want that life. We've come too far. And too far, we've come too far towards goodness, goodwill, hope, opportunity, equality, unity, oneness, wholeness. To ever go back to this fragmented, oppressed, suppressed state of illusion, separation. We've forgotten our divinity, so we're going to need to remember, per Richard Rudd. So transformation over destruction, the final unmasking of truth, is meant to bring profound hope and cosmic healing rather than endless fear. The death of illusion signifies shedding false identities, South Node in Leo, worldly attachments, South Node in Leo, and societal conditioning, South Node in Leo, to see reality through pure spiritual awareness, North Node in Aquarius. The new creation, the arrival of a state of consciousness or existence free from pain, grief, and inner division. That's heaven on earth. That is the verse, John 14:23, I believe. Let me go back to it. Yes. All who love me will do what I say. My Father will love them, and we will come and make our home with each of them. The divine, heaven on earth, descends, permeates, is one with. It's a state of consciousness, an octave of energy, of being. That is what I'm referring to as technicolor. We've gone from black and white or complete darkness to black and white to color. What's before us is technicolor. It's a choice. We all have to choose, free will, as to where we are on that journey, on that path. How quickly do we release, South Node in Leo, this eclipse? It's going to eclipse things out of our lives. Eclipse it, because the eclipsing is the shedding, is the purging. And we're either in alignment with it, we recognize it for the beauty, the truth that it is, and we release it, or we are stuck and we're stagnant. Now let's move to hexagram 28. We're doing these in reverse, but they're in correct order. Here again is a second opportunity of, or an example of opposites. So hexagram 28 is excessive pressure, and this is from divination.com. Something is about to collapse. A great pressure is causing an imbalance that needs correction. When the dam is about to burst, moving out of the way is your first priority. Likewise, when you are in an old mine shaft and feel the earth begin to tremble, it is a time for quick, instinctive action and nimble footwork. Only extraordinary measures can produce a successful outcome. When the roof is collapsing, run first and choose your destination later. This is about extraordinary times, extraordinary measures, that something is collapsing. Deconstruction, the old is collapsing. It brings us to our first quote. Extraordinary times bring out the best and worst in people. So we are being shown the best of humanity and the worst of humanity. So extraordinary times bring out the best and the worst in people. Natural disasters produce stories of heroism, but also of looting and rioting. When a great weight is upon your world, powerful moments present opportunities to make great gains because everything is in a state of flux. Brings us to quote 2. One can either move in the direction of positive change, goodwill is beckoning, calling us forward. So one can either move in the direction of positive change and improvement or towards stagnation. To achieve the former, one must go gently to the heart of the issue, to the cause. Then a smooth transition is assured. This may be the moment that you've been waiting for. Although the current challenge may seem to be more than you can handle, remember that a flood usually reaches its high water mark for only a brief moment before it begins to subside. Action must be taken now to ensure opportunities for success later. And this is our third quote. You never know the true extent of your abilities until you, at least once in your life, dive into a crisis with complete abandon, dedicating every ounce of your energy and every fiber of your being to the cause at hand. Now is that time. Dare to win. So hexagram 28 is about excessive pressure. We have all of those squares and oppositions in the total solar eclipse of the Leo new moon occurring today, August 12th, that's going to ripple out for months. Some things arc out into 2027 and beyond. This falling from grace, the dealing, the shedding of the false identity, the ego, all of these things. Well, then its opposite is hexagram 27. And hexagram 27 is nourishment. You can know people by observing what they nourish in their own lives. Do they feed and take care of their bodies? Do they cultivate their spirits, their intellects, their moral values? Do they nourish and care for those around them? If so, to whom do they devote their energies? The most successful people are temperate in eating and drinking, thinking and dreaming. They strengthen the world by nurturing their higher self and then sharing it with others. They're not in the gutter. They're not trying to harm and oppress and suppress and manipulate the web of lies. They're living in the higher octave, the Charlotte's Web octave of selflessness, self-sacrifice, the goodness, the legacy. Pay heed to your thoughts and impulses, ignoring those that undermine a healthy and persevering attitude. A wise person is temperate in the consumption of food and drink, because being otherwise only leads to discomfort and dis-ease. The fact that temporary pleasure may precede discomfort does not influence a person of mature character. In the same way, a wise person is discriminating in word and action, lest as a desire for temporary advantage leads to pain for oneself and others. So you can see this aspect of, the wise person is discriminating in word and action, lest a desire for temporary advantage. It's temporary. It's an illusion. It's based on lies. Deceit, ill intention leads to pain for oneself and others. And our quote 4, enrich your character and you will nourish everyone around you in the best possible way. So again, when we do well and right by ourselves, we're doing well and right by others. They are not incompatible. They are not mutually exclusive. And in the Aquarian matriarchal we the people era, it is the energy of the era, of the day, of the next 2,000 plus years or beyond. Number 1 from the unseen, opposites attract. Within one lies the other. And then the words balance and harmony. So we're finding that opposites attract. So where the ego, mind, personality, human has been out of sync with the soul source connection, the divine, the unseen, opposites attract. They can come into, because within one lies the other. It's yin yang. They bring into them this harmony. So while they're different, within one lies the other. And when they come into harmony and balance, they work at a higher octave. They work at a higher state of opportunity, goodness, purity, transparency. There's nothing to hide. There's nothing illicit. There are no lies to tell and retell and keep telling. That all collapses or becomes ensnared. So opposites attract. It's a big theme in this total solar eclipse energy chart. And the fact that opposites attract, in a spiritual sense, that represents the universal drive toward balance, wholeness, and divine harmony. When two contrasting souls or opposing forces connect, they mirror the cosmic dance of complementary energies, such as yin and yang, working to heal inner fragments, spark deep personal growth, and achieve complete spiritual integration. Core spiritual meanings include the search for wholeness. You are naturally drawn to traits you suppress or lack in yourself, seeking external balance. So we're looking for the things that we may not have within ourselves or feel we don't have, so we search for it in others as mirrors. Divine polarity. Like cosmic dualities, opposing energies merge to create a dynamic, creative tension rather than static emptiness. These two merge, these two opposites, and that can be really beautiful. What's required at your center, at the core of that interaction, is the purity of intention, the goodness. You can't have one illicit and one good and have that come together and be harmonic and beneficial. It won't work. When both seek the goodness within themselves and others, and their opposite, that can come together with great intensity and cosmic duality and creative tension and be very beneficial. It's also about the mirror effect. Your opposite acts as a clear mirror, exposing your blind spots and pushing you towards self-awareness. It's so that we can, because again, we're all characters in each other's plays on a soul level. And so when our foundation is pure, the goodness is pure, the intent is pure, the opposites isn't a bad thing. It can be a great thing. It can be this mirror effect. And alchemical transformation. It's the friction between differences creates the inner heat required for deep spiritual maturation and ego softening. So this is how we hone and polish the stone, our soul, our life. We come into a greater oneness, harmony, balance, purity. This is what's on offer. So opposites attract. Within one lies the other. And it's ultimately about balance, harmony, unity. It's all coming back to me now. So the final revelation, just going to bring up that main image again because it's so incredible. It's powerful. It's beautiful. And the word that just keeps coming back to me is it's so powerful. It's all coming back to me now. The phrase, it's all coming back to me now, spiritually represents sudden emotional awakening, divine soul retrieval, and the profound realization of universal truth after a period of numbing pain or forgetting. We are remembering our divinity. And this period of numbing or pain, this separation, it mirrors the moment an individual wakes up from an illusion, recalling their sacred worth, karmic lessons, or a deep soul connection that was temporarily blocked by suffering. Themes of spiritual awakening, it's the return of clarity, the sudden piercing of the fog where past lessons, soul contracts, and emotional truths become crystal clear. Healing through remembrance, recognizing that old pain no longer destroys you. Instead, remembering the raw intensity of the past now brings wisdom and integration. It's because we're looking below the surface to see the real gifts that are on offer. And the realignment with self, coming back to your authentic identity after losing yourself in a toxic dynamic, grief, or a prolonged spiritual dry spell. Where have we been out of alignment, not true north? And thereby this realignment with the self, soul self. Aligning the ego, mind, personality, human in concert service to, with your soul source connection. So, number 3 from the unseen, it is our key word, legacy. Because this is all about, of course, we are here and we leave a lasting ripple. As you see in the image, this droplet of water that sends out this ripple effect. Number 3 is legacy, leaving behind what you built, what you created. Make it memorable in a good way. So let's break this down a little bit. Legacy. So the meaning of legacy is something handed down from the past or one generation to the next. It's money or property that is given to you by somebody when they die. It's a life's work. The lasting impact you leave after death. Something we inherit from past generations and pass to future generations. That's the meaning of legacy. The spiritual meaning of legacy transcends material inheritance, representing the enduring energetic footprint, wisdom, and unconditional love you leave behind. It is that sacred transmission of your soul's virtues, such as kindness, faith, and resilience, that continues to heal, guide, and inspire future generations. One simple act of kindness, one pay it forward, one kind smile, kind word. That can be your legacy. It doesn't have to be a building with your name on it. It can be simply how you are remembered, thought of by others. What is this lasting legacy? Core dimensions of a spiritual legacy is the transmission of virtues, passing down intangible spiritual traits like grace, patience, and forgiveness rather than physical wealth. Soul-led impact, it's living in alignment with divine purpose so that your everyday actions serve as a beacon for others, where you walk the walk, you walk the talk, and it's a living example. It doesn't need to be shouted or demonstrated, or just be. It's about interconnectedness, recognizing that you are a link in an eternal chain, honoring ancestors while planting spiritual seeds for descendants. So it's about honoring who came before us while planting the seeds for those who follow us, and allowing us to be the bridge. Your legacy is a bridge that connects those, so that once we're long gone, people will still remember because it's being seeded. It's a part of the energy, the essence. And lastly, bearing lasting fruit. It's about creating positive ripple effect changes in your lives that outlive your physical time on earth. This is what we were just speaking about. So it is this beautiful, I just want to bring up the image again for our key word here, legacy. So it's number 3 from the unseen, legacy, leaving behind what you built, what you created. Make it memorable in a good way. And when they said that, in a good way, it brought up the good way. There's the way and the good way. The spiritual meaning of the good way is a righteous, divinely guided path of life rooted in ancient wisdom, trust in God, in the divine, and moral integrity. It contrasts human shortcuts or worldly habits with a steady, peaceful walk of faith that brings inner rest to the soul. Rooted in Jeremiah 6:16, where God tells people to stop at the crossroads, look for the ancient paths, and ask where the good way is to find rest. The good way is effortless. It's like the truth. It becomes a part of your past. It just is. In that sense, it's effortless. It's the lie, the ill-gotten path that is so burdensome, so heavy, that it takes so much out of your life force. It refers to aligning daily choices with divine truth rather than selfish desires. Modeled in the teachings and life of Master Jesus, who identified himself as the way, the truth, and the life. There's a way, the way. The way is a higher octave. This connectedness, interconnectedness, this life of service, of humility, of purity. And that doesn't mean being a sucker. You know, they're saying to me, the unseen is saying to me, like, that doesn't put sucker on your forehead. Even Master Jesus said, you need not cast pearls before swine. If someone isn't up to that octave of light, of receiving, of giving, of innocence, humanity, goodness, and so forth, so be it. Walk on by. That's their journey, their path, their time frame. It need not be yours. And core spiritual qualities, humility, letting go of the need to control or compete, and instead surrendering to divine guidance. It's about justice and mercy, acting with fairness, loving mercy, and walking humbly. And it's about inner peace, cultivating a quiet spirit and steady rhythm of grace that anchors the mind against anxiety. So we have this beautiful, what we're leaving behind, make it memorable, our legacy, leaving behind what you built, what you created. And remember, it can be one, when I say extraordinary act, a simple act of kindness, a smile, a kind word, a paying it forward, a showing up in a way that gives and we receive. That amplifies, that ripples out, that magnifies. And in a world and a time of deconstruction, of literal like madness, the shedding, it's not pretty. And so we have a choice as to where we place our energy, our time, our money, our effort. Are we placing it in something that is good? It's our legacy. And we get to choose what that is. You'll either forever be remembered as a kind, good, loving human, or somebody that wasn't. And what a horrible legacy. Look at history. We look back, thousands of years we're looking back at who someone was, what their legacy is, and utilizing it, harnessing it as an example. Number 4 from the unseen, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And this goes back to the final revelation but the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Is a formal legal oath spoken in court. This is typically in America. It may be in other countries as well. A witness promises 3 things: to say things that are real and accurate, the truth; to leave out no important facts, the whole truth; and to add no lies, fake ideas, or false stories, nothing but the truth. The truth. Every word you say must be factually correct and not a lie. This is about breaking down the oath. The whole truth. You must share all relevant facts, leaving out important details to mislead people breaks this part of the promise. So when you purposely or willfully leave something out that's important, that's not the whole truth. And thereby it misleads and it breaks this part of the promise. Nothing but the truth. You must not add fake or false details, rumors, or false stories to your statement. So you don't add something that's not true. Why the phrase matters. It brings about fairness. It brings no facts being hidden. And it's also because it's a crime. So yes, in litigation, in the legal system, it can be a crime of perjury. Against the soul, against humanity, it is a crime against humanity. Because it's not, again, it's a web of lies versus selfless intention, purity, truth. And we've been so conditioned to tell the lie to get ahead because we've forgotten the truth that everything is limitless. Everything that we are, everything that our soul came to do, it's already a part of us. We don't have to compete for that. It's already ours, whatever it may be. When it's meant to be, it will be. It will come into alignment. It will come into harmony. It will have this flow and effortlessness. Yes, we show up. Yes, we audition or apply or pursue. However, when it's the right career, job, relationship, performance, it aligns. And when it doesn't, there's a reason. There's an unseen reason for that. Protection, not rejection. That type of thing. So when we just remember that truth, it's universal truth, it speaks for itself. We don't have to fall into an illicit nature. So it's number 4, it's foundational. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The truth speaks for itself. The truth becomes a part of your past. The lie, your future. And we get to choose. So now let's go to, this is an excerpt from Pam Youngins at North Point Journal, talking about the solar eclipse. This is a south node eclipse with the 2 luminaries in proximity to the south node of the moon. This point in space represents our collective karmic past and the tendencies humanity must leave behind if we are to evolve into a more enlightened, better functioning species. With this south node eclipse in kingly Leo, we are seeing evolutionary lessons involving leaders and leadership and the troubles that eventually confront hubris and overinflated egos. On the larger world stage, we may observe the fall of those who cannot express humility or are unable to see beyond the mask of their own performance. The divide between the one standing on a pedestal and the followers at their feet closes quickly and often painfully when the idol falls from grace. And she also spoke about there's a mystic rectangle in the, let me just bring that up. You can see the rectangle in the center. And this is about dealing with the fallout of revelations as well-kept secrets are exposed. This final revelation, the fallout of revelations. And then she spoke about Pluto out of bounds from August 12th to December 10th of 2026. Pluto out of bounds gives us a great dislike for anything superficial or false. helping to uncover truths that have been hidden and endowing us with an enhanced ability to see through facades. So you can see there, we're being shown opposites, we're being shown there's revelations involved in these energies, and this aspect of our legacy. What will our individual and collective legacies be? Because again, how many hundreds of years later, or a decade later, or a millennia later, our descendants are going to look back and literally see what our legacy was. And we won't be able to undo that legacy, meaning change it. So it's make it memorable in a good way, the good way. 1221, it's number 5. We spoke about 1221 at the top of the hour. 1221, and we have this beautiful image with a green cloak. It's a beautiful angelic figure, feminine in embodiment, with a green cloak. And 1221 is a mirror palindrome symbolizing balance, new beginnings, and alignment between your inner thoughts and outer actions. It combines the independent, driven energy of the number 1 with the cooperative, patient harmony of the number 2, serving as a gentle prompt to trust your inner journey and stay positive. Because 1221 reads the same forward and backward, it acts as a mirror, reminding you that your outer reality reflects your inner mindset. Bookending the sequence, the number 1 represents fresh starts, leadership, and the power to manifest your goals through action. Doubled in the middle, the number 2 encourages patience, diplomacy, faith, and cooperation with others. Aquarian, matriarchal, we the people. Adding the digits together equals a 6, a traditional symbol of domestic peace, healing, and nurturing care. The green mantle symbolizes life, renewal, growth, and divine connection to nature. Across various spiritual, cultural, and literary traditions, it represents spring, healing, and prosperity. In Christianity, it's associated with ordinary time in liturgical calendars to represent spiritual growth and hope. A green mantle also appears in specific apparitions, such as the Virgin of Revelation, symbolizing mercy and protection. The Virgin of Revelation. You see, the final revelation, it's all coming back to me now. This divine feminine, the Virgin of Revelation. In esoteric and Celtic traditions, it's linked to the green man, Pan, the green man, nature spirits, and the sacred bond between humanity and the earth. It signifies rebirth, balance, and the cycles of life. And it's the kingdom of wealth and prosperity. In prophetic or symbolic art, a green mantle denotes an anointing for fruitfulness, flourishing, and generosity. This is what lies before us. So 1221, it's number 5, denoting change from the unseen. And they said, trust your journey. It leads to deliverance, a new beginning. So all of this is leading to a new beginning. Our mantra to enforce that is, I go as guided. We open with this every show on Weekly Wisdom and Insights, that we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. So our mantra is to heed the call of these awareness, these opposites, these opportunities, possibilities that are before us, and to go as guided, to listen to your soul source connection and go as guided. It's really exposing this moment, this solar eclipse, total solar eclipse, the Leo new moon, the South Node in Leo, the planetary lineup, the Perseid meteor shower coming up, all of this happening in one day. And so we're looking at this opportunity, this gateway for metamorphosis, transfiguration, transformation, this leveling up, and how the Virgin of Revelation, the final revelation, Technicolor versus color. We're moving on up to the east side. This opportunity, and it requires us to align, to shed, to choose what may seem difficult in the beginning, up front, and yet is easy once we walk through the fire of that change or that transformation or that shedding, that releasing of what does not serve, no longer serves. So we either choose to cling to it, and then the mind is saying, oh, see, that's easy. That's the beast I know. But then all the hard part comes later. Or we face all of that up front so that the ease flows after that point. We walk through the fire, the ease comes because we're aligned. We've released and shed what no longer serves. South Node in Leo. It's a big theme, this South Node in Leo. It's for the next 18 months. So you can see how these themes are going to be playing out through into early 2028. This is an excerpt from Lena Stevens at the Power Path. New moon in Leo with a total solar eclipse. Adaptability in the face of change, emotional awareness and stability, creative thinking, and the ability to step into a new beginning with confidence and commitment are all aspects of this new moon that will be encouraging us towards the revising of an old story. It will be encouraging us towards the revising of an old story. Goodwill beckons, calls you forward, integrating the whole. So we're revising an old story. We're integrating the whole because goodwill is beckoning us forward. To the extent that you are trapped in your attachments to the past, you may feel very out of sorts during this time. Eclipses always bring intensity and mark the beginning of a new cycle. It is up to you and your personal internal leadership to decide how this cycle will manifest for you. This is where choice comes in. It's whether we're willing. Are we in the flow or are we fighting against it? And Lena Stevens at the Power Path, she concludes, only you can choose the right path, and only you can decide when you are complete and where you are going next. It's all up to us, individually and collectively. Web of Lies, Charlotte's Web. The legacy. And to go as guided or to not heed the call. This excessive pressure, there's excessive pressure, and yet there's nourishment on offer. So what are we choosing? What are we willing to let go of? And to remember that opposites can attract. They just need to be aligned at their center. Meaning, at your center, there's purity, goodness, good intent. You can be complete opposites, yin yang, polar opposites, pardon me, and yet come together in unity. And it can be amplified. It can be like a power couple coming together. It's okay that you're opposites. What matters is that at your center, at your core, and not what your mind is telling you, but what your heart knows, what your soul knows. Your mind can tell you that you're a horrible person and you do horrible things and lies and deceits and all this stuff, or you have done them. Okay. Is that who you are today? Is that who you are at your center? If it is, then somebody that is not that at their center, that won't work. However, when you have a knowing that you are good at your center, you may have never revealed that goodness to others. You may have been fearful about revealing that goodness to others. And yet, once you do, and once it's aligned with another opposites, they come together, and it's a force to be reckoned with in the most beautiful way. And then you learn and grow and teach one another. Pardon me. Lastly, to close this all out, Astrology by Lauren. The solar eclipse in Leo, August 12th. This is an excerpt. Solar eclipses occur at the new moon. When the sun, moon, and the earth are in such perfect alignment as this one is, the moon will completely cover the face of the sun. Solar eclipses are not ordinary new moons. They are still associated with new beginnings, however, with certain qualifications. The sun represents our ego drive, the moon our soul's needs. And when they are in perfect alignment, it is an opportunity to bring us more in touch with our true soul's purpose and needs. However, this may not necessarily be what the ego wants. This is where do we do the hard part up front? What the soul is guiding us to do and allowing the ego to be quiet so that we walk through the fire to get to the easy part. So this may not necessarily be what the ego wants. Astrology by Lauren. And so it can sometimes feel like we are being brought off course. The truth is that it is difficult for us to see the much larger picture. And so what might be best for our soul's growth may not be what we think we need. Ego, mind, personality, human. And this is more likely to be so when the eclipse is at the south node of the nodal axis. On July 26th, the nodes of the moon entered the Leo-Aquarius axis. Through the south node in Leo, we are being asked to put the ego aside to more fully recognize and appreciate the impact that we have on each other, that we have on ourselves. We cannot achieve our goals without others. Our achievements rest on the shoulders of many. They rest on the shoulders of all who came before us, our ancestors, then our descendants. We depend on others to succeed. Recognizing this can shift the narrative in so many significant ways. This may require us to drop concepts having to do with exceptionalism, of being the star of the show, or even the divine right of kings. Leo is a sign of leadership and responsibility, of what it means to be seen or stand for something. This is still true. However, motivation will be everything now that the south node has shifted into Leo and the north node into Aquarius. Those who are in positions of leadership, power, and visibility, who use their power and influence to serve themselves, their fame, their own enrichment, are more likely to see a correction in their lives, perhaps even a fall from grace. However, those who are in positions of power and leadership, but who use their positions and influence to enrich the whole, or for the greater good of all concerned, are more likely to thrive. This is the astrological as above, so below energy, wisdom, octave that is on offer. It is saying to everyone, you're a leader, you're a person of influence, you hold power. The way to maintain it, expand it, amplify it, is to serve all, to serve, rise, raise everyone up. And in this octave of energy, you will continue to thrive. You don't want to do that. Me, I, manipulate, control, web of lies. Boom, collapse, deconstruction, fall from grace, withdrawn power. Because you're the custodian of it. It's being granted to you. It can be rescinded. It's what you choose to do with it. Astrology by Lauren. The solar eclipse conjunct the south node does speak to endings and release. However, what follows also looks like promise and hopes for ever better things to come. We are being asked to consider new ideas, new concepts, to take some risks and chances, discernment, to step outside of our comfort zone and make way for what is emerging. For some, this could feel like we are entering unknown territory, or like we are strangers in a strange land. However, at the same time, we are being asked to take that first step into the unknown, trusting that it is going to take us where we need to be in the end. It's about trust. It is about all of this wisdom that is on offer, that is right before us. The final revelation, it's all coming back to me now, remembering opposites attract, within one lies the other, so it's balance, harmony, and unity. Goodwill beckons, calls you forward, it's integrating the whole. It's our legacy, leaving behind what you created, what you built. Make it memorable in a good way, the good way. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The truth will set you free. And 1221, trust your journey. It leads to deliverance. It leads to a new beginning. And when we go as guided, that excessive pressure, we know where to go. We know what to release. And we find nourishment. It delivers us to a new beginning, but to that nourishment, to a renewed sense of purpose, oneness, identity, and that we are the custodian of. Love you all. Intense energies, a little bit of feels like almost like Mercury retrograde energies. So forgive me. We made it through. Cannot wait to see what happens next, what the unseen has in store for us next. Thank you all so much for your love, your light, your energy, your presence on this journey. It means the world to me and definitely to the unseen. We will see you all next week.